All right, so today I'm live with Kelsey at iFixit, which is, I believe, the first company to get a smartphone manufacturer to actually agree to sell parts to end consumers who are not authorized. And of course, that congratulations goes to Motorola for being a company that is willing to sell this stuff. So thank you so much for taking the time today.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. And we're stoked to be able to offer this new solution for everybody for repair. It's pretty cool. But I do have to give credit where credit's due. Fairphone is technically one of the other manufacturers that works with us to get us OEM parts. But they're awesome, and we already knew that. So it's cool that we've got another major manufacturer that's, trying to let their buyers, have an option for DIY repair. Pretty cool.
Yes. Oh, has the Fairphone come out yet? Or because I've heard a lot about it, but I haven't actually seen it yet.
So we've got parts and guides for some of the older ones. Let me see on our site here. And we've been kind of working with them to do some repairability assessment and stuff like that. I'm checking on the site here, see what we got, see if we could pull something up. But I think we've got Fairphone 1. That's a little bit before my iFixit time. But yeah, they're always doing a great job. They're very repair and sustainability focused. We don't really worry about them when it comes to this kind of stuff. We're trying to go after the big guys.
So first question, when it comes to Motorola, was this a case of them coming to you and saying, we would like to sell to consumers? Or was this just you guys knocking on the doors of every company and this is the first one that just so happened to say yes?
A little bit of both. So we're definitely knocking on doors and trying to get into just to talk with, all manufacturers on this because, supplying OEM parts is, a huge issue. It's really hard to get either high quality or, these OEM parts. But so it was a little bit of both. Us knocking on the door and then, Motorola finally saying, hey, you're right. We can't really meet the demand for all of these repairs that need to be done. We want Motorola users to continue to use the phones that they love. And so they want to offer this as an alternative. Now, they still want, people to go to Motorola support to, contact them for support, but now they just have more options. So, if your phone breaks, you can, contact Motorola and you can, contribute to the downfall of society and just immediately upgrade like, many manufacturers just want you to do. Or, you can send it in to Motorola for their, in-house repair services, contact a pro. Or, if you're out of warranty and, up a creek with a broken phone, then you've got this DIY option to try to fix it yourself. And also some people just don't want to send their phones off to anybody for repair. So now we've got that OEM solution.
Now, out of curiosity, what is the sales pitch that you use to get them to decide to put time out of their day to sell to small-time end users, which is probably not where their profit center is?
So I think going back to, again, just the demand for these things. I mean, I hope that they've recognized that, hey, we've got a lot of phones, especially Motorola, has had a lot of phones that are out of warranty and they really don't have, they don't want to, they don't have the time to offer, or they don't offer repair service for some of these older phones. So I think that, it came from a fact that they recognize that all these phones are out there still needing repairs. They don't want to offer the service, but really it almost seems like more of a care for the consumer than I've seen other places, but they just, I kind of think back to Apple with the battery gate issue and how backlogged everybody got when they tried to go in to get their batteries replaced.
Yeah, that was a nightmare.
Yeah, these kinds of, these battery fixes and display fixes are, if you think about the number of Motorola phones that need to have them done that aren't covered under a warranty, there's a huge demand out there. I don't know what the exact pitch was, aside from the fact that, obviously our missions align a little bit more than we thought, and they just want to be able to offer this to them. And granted, I mean, we're starting off with just a few models of Motorola phones, and I think our job here is to prove to Motorola that, hey, or to all manufacturers that, hey, people are willing to do these things themselves. So we're kind of, I kind of almost feel like we're a guinea pig at this point. We have to prove that, hey, people are coming in and buying these kits, and they are. We've had huge success with this, and then hopefully they'll expand, because I know Motorola phone markets are even greater in some of countries overseas and stuff. So it's, I think we're a really good test case, and other manufacturers need to keep an eye out and take a look at this. Because sure, the profits aren't there for them in the end, but you're supplying your user with another option, and they just can't keep up. There aren't enough authorized service providers, and they can't, if every single phone got sent into their in-house, repair depot, they'd be freaking out because they'd just be overloaded with stuff. So unless you want a bunch of angry consumers, knocking on your door looking for repair solutions, you should provide them with it. So don't know what the exact sell on that was, but I think our missions are just a little bit more aligned than, say Apple or and Samsung, some of these other companies, where Motorola has, they just want to offer that to their users.
Yeah, it sounds like they just didn't take a lot of selling. It was just something that they agreed to, and I'm happy to hear that because I've been recommending phones like the Moto G for years because it's $175. It's drop proof, liquid resistant. They run fast. The idea that you need a $600 phone now is just kind of uh, silly to me. And one thing, when it comes to angry customers, a lot of the reasons that people will give for the reason that they don't sell parts is because it is a nightmare. So I remember back 5 or 7 years ago, right when everybody was switching over from fluorescent screens to LED backlit screens for laptops, you'd have a laptop that used two different screens in it. And when they switched, the fluorescent one, which is no longer available, would be $150, and the LED one would be $38. So a lot of people would go, I'm not going to open my machine or listen to the warning. I'm going to buy the $38 one, and when it shows up and doesn't work, cut it to pieces to try to make it fit, and then return it. Has that been an experience that you've been dealing with selling these products, or has it been fairly straightforward with no hassle from either Motorola or the end user?
So far it's been a success, but again, we're giving them everything they need and limited options kind of when it comes to it. We're not, listing out, here are all the possible parts you could choose for this. We've put everything in a kit saying, like, I've got the kit here for the Moto G4 Plus. So on there, I mean, especially for the fixed kits that we have for Motorola are all OEM, parts. So there's only one option there. And on our website, we make it pretty easy. I mean, if you type in your device name, you're going to get linked to, that one option for that display, including the repair guide and videos or anything that we have with it. So like how people are coming to our site, they're either searching for a solution independently and arriving at ifixit.com and landing on these kits page where we've already kind of done all that guesswork for them. I mean, even you can even input your device at the top of the iFixit page and we'll tell you whether or not the parts that are in your cart are for your specific device. You get a lot of warnings along the way saying, hey, or if you decide that you don't want, I'll show you the fix kit here in a second. It's got everything with it. But say you just want to borrow, if you're, taking a risk, just want to buy the part a la carte, we've got a reminder and they're saying, hey, there's no adhesive for this. Like, you need adhesive on the back of this. And we're constantly reminding people at every step, if you don't get the all-in-one kit, even along the way, you've got pretty much everything you need. So, but what we're seeing really great success with this because it's all together. You don't have to guess, oh, which tiny drivers do I need? Or, oh, should I use, what heating element should I use? We, provide an eye opener in these kits and stuff. So everything's all there. I think, where people might run into, or what, issues that we see, people in repairs, things happen. But again, if you're reading that iFixit guide ahead of time, you're looking at, you're getting set up, staying organized, keeping clean, going slow, allowing time for this repair. You have a step-by-step guide with awesome photos that we made that shows you exactly how it's done. So consumers are having a lot of success. And I think it's because it's all in one place. You're not trying to go to eBay for this and then running down to the store to get a random driver when you need it halfway through the repair. You're not, trying to figure out the best way to open the back. So you already have a heating element and instructions to tell you how to do it. So I think that's why our solution is kind of the best and why we're having so much success. But yeah, we'll see. We're kind of in the first wave of this and in talks to expand the offer, because right now these kits are only offered in our US store just due to like battery shipment regulations.
Yeah, that's a nightmare.
Trying to ship our eye openers and stuff, but we are in talks to expand it. So again, we just got to prove to Motorola, hey, people are coming out, they're fixing their stuff and they're having success. And if we want them to have success, we need to give them everything they need to do it so they don't have to shop around.
Now, is this just batteries or is this full service? Like, are you selling screens, buttons, or what exactly are the parts that you're able to sell at the moment?
Yeah, so small parts, so buttons and charging ports and everything, and along with batteries and displays. So a wide variety, all kinds of stuff. It's pretty cool. I mean, we've got to select models right now. About six models right now that have the OEM fix kits. We have parts for a number of other Motorola phones, but the OEM fix kits that we have are for select models now, and then we're going to be expanding those as the demand grows.
Oh, very cool. Can you show us what some of these fix kits look like?
Yeah. Okay. So
this is the fun
you get awesome box, motivational message. You can do it. You can fix it. And then in the kit, you get like 3 boxes. The first box has all your tools that you need. So you've got a driver with all the itty bitty little bits and all your prying and opening tools, suction cup to help you get that display off. Or, well, you don't need the display to get it off, or maybe the back panel glass for these ones. I always think about iPhone repair, and it's like, nope, you got to flip it. And then you've got your parts. So you've got your tools, you've got your OEM labeled part, and your adhesive in another kit, all packed in there. And then you've got your heating element. So we provide this eye opener. You stick it in the microwave, you can heat it up, and you lay it over the adhesive and do it a few times in a row to get that adhesive softened. And if you don't like to use the eye opener, there are other tools and stuff that we mention in the guide, like, hey, you can always use a different kind of heating element if you don't want to go back and forth to the microwave over and over again. But and what's cool is that, all of our parts are hand tested, like here in California at our warehouse. We test and kit all of these ourselves. And then also our parts are backed, usually industry leading warranty. So batteries is about a year, parts, it depends a bit there. But with tools, all of our tools that are backed by lifetime warranty. So you get these tools, but they're not disposable. You can keep them, use them for life. Something weird happens, like you try to, use this bit on something other than precision work and you break it, send it to us. We'll give you a new one. Another thing, I think our customer support team is really, really helpful. Like you've got this guide, you've got these tools, you have everything you need. But if you have questions at any point, you can contact, iFixit support for order info. And, if you're having trouble with the guide, we'll try to walk you through something and help you out. But then, you also have Motorola support, so you can contact them directly too. So it's cool to finally have a unified front, in a sense, on there. And
if you contacted, when you say if you contacted Motorola support, I'm sorry to cut you off there. If you said I tried to install my battery and X happened, just to be clear, they're not going to actually answer you, right? Or are you saying that they will?
No, well, so our customer support team is the nicest and most.
I mean the difference, because you said, I think you said Motorola. Like I figured you would help, but like you said Motorola support team, or did I mishear that?
Yeah, so no, you can contact Motorola support to try to figure out your options, and then if you do decide to get the kit from iFixit, we would be the one giving either order support or repair support after the fact, or if you're having problems with your part, we go through that troubleshooting process with you. If you contact Motorola, they'll tell you to contact us.
Yeah, I figured. I was just surprised by that. That was why. Yeah, all right. Yeah. That makes sense. Now, there are somebody's pointed out that Samsung has done this. They do have a website, Samsung Parts. I've had to buy my own Samsung S7 battery from Amazon because it was always out of stock when I checked that. Have you tried contacting other companies like Samsung? And if so, have you gotten responses from any of them?
So I don't know about Samsung specifically. Apple doesn't really respond to our requests.
Something tells me Apple wouldn't be happy with it. Yeah.
Weird. But so we are in talks. I would say that these partnerships are relatively kind of new to us. We've been working on them for a while, but it can be kind of hard to get a foot in through the door there, or you get the runaround a little bit. I think. Maybe most manufacturers are just afraid of the fact that we're getting their newest devices and we're opening them up for everybody to see, a day after they come out. But I can't. So we are in talks. We do want as many as possible. It's really just about, we've got a couple people on our team that, are the ones knocking on doors, and it's just a matter of time. And yeah, I don't know about Samsung, but I'd be interested. I should ask. I'd be interested to see if there have been any talks so far or not.
Have you considered reaching out to any of the other companies like OnePlus or the companies that have been actively asking YouTube content people to go to their facility to see how the stuff's made? Because I think that would be a good next. I was surprised that Motorola was the first company to do this, as much as I like their devices, just because I haven't seen them do a lot of outreach when it comes to talking to people in the community.
Yeah, no. So, we've worked with OnePlus to do teardowns and the repairability assessments, and other manufacturers have contacted us to do repairability assessments. But again, getting your foot in the door to then sell parts is like a whole nother thing. So for us, I'd say that, teaming up to provide teardowns and the analysis, the repair analysis, and give these products a score is like our foot in the door. We build that trust, like, hey, we care about your product. We're really just trying to give you feedback to make it better for users, better for the planet. And then after that, I feel like, hopefully there's some more trust there and they'd be willing to sell to us. But so far, we're still kind of in that initial phase of saying, hey, we're willing to, we're the people with the word of the repair, and we'll we'll do these teardowns, but really what we want, and this actually goes into our repairability assessment. So if you go to ifixit.com/smartphone_repairability, and you can do this for tablets and laptops and stuff too. We have listed out Motorola, all the major manufacturers, the most popular phones that we've torn down, and all of those repair scores. And something that factors into that is whether or not there's OEM parts and repair guides, are available. Is this is the complete repair solution already available? And most of the time, it's not, or it's not easily available to the average consumer. So that docks their score a bit. So as we do these teardowns, we're letting manufacturers know what we want, what the repair industry wants to see in these devices, or just what consumers want. Like, who doesn't want a repairable, phone in a sense? And then, I believe, the relationship can kind of move from there. But I think that's really what we can offer manufacturers is just, hey, here's some feedback, improve your design. It's more frustrating when we do these teardowns and we don't see an improvement in design, or we see something going in the opposite way. We're like, what the heck? Are you listening to us here? But that's all part of it. But we do see an influence in a sense when we start doing these teardowns, and just to have an open dialogue with manufacturers about the design is a really crazy opportunity. So hopefully it will lead to more parts coming through. We'll see.
Now, do you think that this is something that will change people's mind when it comes to which phone do I have to choose? Do you think people will think not just does it have a nice camera, does it have a nice screen, what price is it, but also can I fix it? Do you think that this will have any effect on the consumer purchasing decision? Because at least as far as I've seen, I'm not surprised when a consumer doesn't care about the repairability of it, but I've always found it interesting, especially when I went to lobby with people like Jessa, who's a best friend of mine, but she'll show up and she'll have an iPhone 6, an iPhone 10, and a MacBook, and I'll just look at like, what the hell? I mean, are you even like we are lobbying against a company that's stealing our parts at the border, and you just spent $1,000 on the new product. So I find it interesting that even within our own industry, people are still buying MacBooks and iPhones as that company is responsible for our parts getting stolen. Do you think that it will, if it hasn't even trickled down within our own industry where everybody's using iPhones and MacBooks, do you think it will trickle down to the consumer mindset to say, hey, iFixit, not only did they release a good repairability score, but I can buy a battery from them. I'm going to buy that phone instead of the one that's next to it. Yeah.
And so I think with... I use an iPhone. We use MacBook Pros here at iFixit. Some of the older ones, the repairable ones with easy to remove batteries. And I think that, to some extent, it does look weird to be like, hey, iFixit's, come down hard on Apple for all these repairability issues. Yet, when we look at teardowns, these, iPhones still have higher repairability scores than a lot of these other devices, because they are easier to open and repair. And I also think it's okay to say, hey, I love these devices. Like I haven't always used iPhones, but, starting to work at iFixit and through college, I got a MacBook and an iPad, and here we go. I love these devices, and I want them to be better, and that's okay. And I think that that part's okay. I do, but it's just, but again, it comes down to just, I think people's minds will change, one, when they realize that they can fix these things themselves. And then, when there is an affordable option that makes it worth it for them, which is what we're trying to provide. But you're right, it does seem weird. Like why, it's kind of like, will it trickle down? But
essentially, if we keep rewarding them by giving them money when they release products that are less repairable or fight people's efforts to repair it, do you think that it will change?
Yeah. And so we often say that the greenest phone, the most sustainable phone, is the one in your back pocket. So I'm not upgrading every single year. I'm not feeding into that machine. What I'm trying to do is like take the phone I already bought for whatever reason back few years ago. I decided to get these things, my misguided decision to buy something that wasn't necessarily repairable. Although I will say, again, I'll say that like I would rather repair an iPhone than deal with a Galaxy and have to take all the parts out just to replace, the screen.
Oh, yeah.
There's a little bit,
the glue and there's the glue, and then there's also the fact that when you put the screen back in, if you don't put it back in just right, a month later you'll wind up with a line down, and it's like, ugh. Opening Samsung is such a nightmare.
And so people kind of look to us and go, hey, well, if you're coming down on Apple so hard, then why are their repairability scores always higher on some of their products? Not necessarily for laptops, but when it comes to smartphones, it's true. There's been a universal form factor, or a form factor that's been predictable. So we know how to, when it comes to smartphones, we know what we're getting into when we get into this thing. The documentation's out there. And, when you have an open from the front repair process, things are easier. You don't have to take apart the whole phone. So there are things, a little bit more that goes into this. And so when people just kind of accuse us for being the ice sheep or whatever that we are, there's a little bit more involved there. But so I think that the best thing we can do is help consumers advocate for themselves and make smarter choices. And, you know, we're definitely not recommending that people upgrade, but we're hoping that with this information, people can make that better decision, that if and when they do upgrade, because at some point, you know, everybody will have to, that they'll be a little bit more informed, or at least not be surprised when they try to go in to get a screen repaired out of warranty, you know, by how much the, you know, the cost is. At least know what you're getting into and what the value is. But I think, and so our role is providing those repairability scores and assessments just to inform the user. Just like when you go to just look at reviews. I wish that they were side by side. Like, all right, here's a review of how this, you know, this fancy camera and all this cool stuff. Oh, by the way, you know, it's also when you break it, it's going to be easier to fix out of pocket than anything else. Hopefully, we'll, you know, I want more people to feel enabled to do the repairs themselves, or at least, you know, think first, can I fix this myself? Is instead of immediately feeling like I have to go to the Apple store, or there's nobody else, or I don't trust anybody else to do this besides that. Like, it should be, you know, the repair pros in your local area and yourself. And so I think enabling people to make that decision is kind of, I don't want to say more important, but is equally as important.
Now, last question. Do you think that since we have made the step towards getting them to be okay with selling parts, how far of a jump do you think it is to get them to sell something like, let's say, a schematic, or license the rights to sell a schematic, so that if somebody wants to work on the board of a phone rather than dealing with some ZXW tool dongle that, for all I know, is sending all my credit card information to China while looking at a stolen schematic, we could look at one that's actually from the manufacturer. Do you think that that's something that could potentially be in the works, or don't want to push your luck just yet?
I want to say yes, but I also think that that's where right to repair, we really have to push for right to repair and some laws to get them to do that. Because I think manufacturers they're always worried about the bottom line and protecting their intellectual property. But you know what? You can protect your intellectual property and give people the opportunity to fix their stuff. Like, somebody that's looking at a schematic isn't trying to steal all your, you know, ideas. They're just trying to fix their thing. And if they are trying to steal all your ideas, you can hold them accountable. Like, you got plenty of attorneys for that. Like, that's not a reason to not provide that documentation.
Do you think that right to repair legislation, when it comes to that documentation, should be something that makes an exception with intellectual property law, so that the individual who, let's say, posts a schematic doesn't wind up getting a prison sentence? Or do you think it should be something that actually compels the company to release it?
Both. We need to protect, I mean, both. The company needs to release it, and then also we have to look at, I mean, if I, you know, were to go to post a schematic, what's my intent to do that? Am I intending to share all these, you know, secrets or whatever, develop a product that's so similar you can't tell the difference? Or am I really just trying to distribute information that's, you know, helping people with repair? I think you've got to look at all those things separately, but we need to do both. We need to protect people that are trying to use these resources and share them. And we need to compel them to share them already, because it should be easy to access all of this information. It shouldn't be, all held up. So both, definitely.
All right, interesting. Because I've always felt a little weird by compelling a company to do something, but at the very least, I think it would be good to just probably lessen the criminal penalties if an engineer decides, you know, this little line graph that shows you exactly how the thing you own is already put together, if he wants to put that on the internet, to not wind up in prison for putting something together that you could essentially draw yourself if you already measured everything out on the phone. But yeah, do you have anything else that you'd want to add? Because I think I'm out of questions.
Yeah, no worries. No, I'm just stoked for the opportunity to come on. I'm glad, you know, Motorola users in the US right now can have this other solution, and be on the lookout, because they're going to be available in more countries soon. So it's ifixit.com/Motorola, and we'll walk you through the entire thing, top to bottom, all the kits and stuff that we have available, and all the repair guides that you need to do it yourself.
Awesome. And if anybody wants to check out any of these phones, I'll have a link below that if you click, that I get to make some money from. So thank you so much for taking the time today. I really appreciate it. And
yeah, thanks for having me. Bye.
All right.